All right, let's dive into what might be one of Google's most important AI breakthroughs ever. It's a model called Vault Gemma, and it's built to tackle the single biggest fear we all have about AI, privacy. So, let's crack this thing open and see what's inside.
This is the big question, right? We want AI to be brilliant. We want it to learn from our data, to find patterns, to help us solve huge problems. But what happens if, while it's learning, it also memorizes everything? Your private medical history, your bank account details, your company's most sensitive trade secrets. It's been a massive trade-off. Well, until now.
So, to really get why Vault Gemma is such a game changer, you first have to understand the problem with almost every other AI out there. Just picture an absolutely brilliant student who's also the biggest gossip in school. It learns everything it sees, but it might just repeat it to anyone who asks.
And that creates this huge roadblock. The potential for AI in fields like medicine or finance is just incredible. It could spot diseases years earlier or shut down complex fraud rings. But the risk? It's just as big. Companies in these fields are, frankly, terrified that the AI they're training could turn around and accidentally leak the exact data it was supposed to protect.
This is why the old-school methods just aren't cutting it. Yeah, companies try to scrub personal info from their data before they feed it to an AI, but that's like trying to unring a bell. Once the model has seen that data, even for a split second, it might be in there forever. You can't just patch that problem. You need a whole new way of thinking. So, how do you build an AI that learns but doesn't blab? Well, you don't try to fix the old system. You build a brand new one. And that's exactly what Vault Gemma is. It's an AI that's designed from its very core to be forgetful in just the right way.
Here's the core idea. Vault Gemma is specifically engineered to get smart without getting nosy. It's designed to see the forest, not the individual trees. It learns the general patterns, the big picture trends, the collective knowledge. But it is literally, mathematically incapable of memorizing and spitting back out the specific, private details it was trained on.
And don't think for a second this is some small academic experiment. We're talking about a 1 billion parameter model. Now, those parameters are what an AI uses to learn, and 1 billion of them? That makes Vault Gemma a true monster AI, more powerful than most of the big models from just a couple of years ago. This is the real deal.
This is what changes the entire conversation. For most AI, privacy is an add-on, something you try to bolt on after the fact. With Vault Gemma, privacy isn't a feature, it's the foundation. It's woven into its DNA from the very beginning. It doesn't learn to be private, it just is.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great, maybe a little too great, like magic. How can an AI possibly learn from data without actually seeing the details? Well, the secret ingredient is something called mathematical noise.
Now, the technical term for this is differential privacy. But honestly, the analogy they use is so much better. Imagine a teacher trying to figure out what her class understands. But instead of listening to each student one by one, she's wearing these special noise-canceling headphones. She can hear the overall hum of the classroom, the general vibe, the patterns of what the class knows, but she can't make out any single student's voice. She learns from the group without knowing who said what. That's Vault Gemma.
So here's how that plays out. Step 1, the AI is shown a piece of data. But then, step 2, as it's learning, a tiny, carefully calculated bit of random mathematical noise is mixed in. It's just enough to blur the original source, making it impossible to reverse engineer. So the AI learns the general pattern, but the specific piece of data it came from becomes completely untraceable. It's like trying to find one single grain of sand on an entire beach. Good luck.
And the best part? This isn't just a clever idea. It's a mathematical guarantee. You see these numbers here, epsilon and delta? They are the mathematical proof of privacy. And their values are so ridiculously small, they represent a level of security that's strong enough for banks, hospitals, anyone dealing with the most sensitive data on the planet.
But what's truly mind-bending about all this isn't just this one model. It's what it means for everything that comes next. Vault Gemma isn't just a tool, it's a blueprint for a whole new future of AI.
See, while building this, Google's team discovers something they call scaling laws for differential privacy. Now, what that means in plain English is that they found the recipe. They now know how to build even bigger private AI models with trillions of parameters that still have this mathematical guarantee of privacy baked in.
So what does this actually unlock? It means all those high-stakes fields can finally use AI without fear.
We're talking about AI in healthcare that helps doctors without ever knowing a patient's name, AI in finance that spots fraud without ever seeing your account number. The fear of catastrophic data leaks has just been mathematically wiped off the board.
And this isn't some coming soon technology. It's here, right now. Vault Gemma is production ready, and Google has released it to the world. Any developer can go to places like Hugging Face or Kaggle this very second, download it, and start building with truly private AI. This is how you start a revolution.
When you release a tool this powerful and this secure, it doesn't just make a ripple, it sends a shockwave through the entire industry. It fundamentally changes the rules for everyone. Someone put it perfectly. This is Google throwing down the gauntlet. By making this public, they're basically saying to every other AI company, this is the new standard. Privacy isn't a nice-to-have feature anymore, it's a requirement. The bar has just been raised for everyone.
What this all means is that we're finally getting to a place where we don't have to choose. For years, the story was you could have powerful AI or you could have privacy, but you couldn't have both. Vault Gemma proves that narrative is officially dead. You can and you should have both.
And maybe this is the most profound shift of all. We are moving from an era where you had to trust a company's policies and promises to an era where you can just trust the math. Trust is no longer a marketing slogan. It's being coded directly into the technology itself.
So, this is the start of something new. A huge technical barrier to building AI we can actually trust has just been shattered. The future is no longer a choice between innovation and our privacy. So the real question, the exciting question is, now that we can do this, what are we going to build?